Hello viewers, in today's video let's talk about energy markets and let's talk also about natural gas. Well, as you are well aware, war in Ukraine is in full swing for more than a year. At the time of the writing is roughly one year and March, April, May, 3 months. And this has made profound impact on world energy markets. And it's more evident in nowhere else than natural gas. Because why? Well, Russia is world's largest energy exporter if we combine both natural gas, oil and oil products, and its main destination of its energy products is Europe. And in fact, you know that Europe was buying 40% of its natural gas from Russia, and its natural gas pipeline infrastructure was built in the way that most of the countries from former communist bloc, or we could say Warsaw Pact countries and former Soviet Union countries, was fully dependent on the Russian gas because their pipelines were made in such structure, and local CEOs of natural gas companies were in one way or another related to Russia directly, because in most of these cases Gazprom still was owner of these companies when they were privatized, as it was the case in Latvia when Latvia National Gas Company was owned by Gazprom by 50%, which is still the case now, but there are corporate changes being made at the time of the writing for the last couple of years. But nevertheless, the point is that Europe was buying huge amounts of natural gas, and Eastern Europe was particularly dependent on Russian natural gas. So every kind of natural disruptions naturally meant risks to economies, right? Yes, that was true. And they didn't have any interest to change something because Russia was feeding everyone with cheap natural gas, saying this was the only alternative that they could have. And all that happened to change in 2022 when war started. Because not only Europe started to diversify its natural gas buyers and quickly going through liquid NLG, liquid natural gas, so to speak, but Russia also, due to the sanctions, was threatening that they wouldn't accept payments for Russian gas. So naturally what that happened is the market spiked. As you could see now, this is like early March, the natural gas going to absurdly high levels, and then it reverted to more medium levels. But here's also the funny thing. Well, we might think that crisis started when war was almost inevitable and it's just started, that was around here. Actually, crisis went a bit earlier in 2021. Now, if you are in Europe and you follow European gas market, you remember there were some sort of suspicious shortages of natural gas, which meant that natural gas prices skyrocketed to unprecedented levels. But at late 2021 there was no war. Then it was only some talks about tensions here and there and something is not right, but actually no one even made serious thoughts about some war unless they were like very, very closely related to like military intelligence or something like that. But to none of the politicians, economists and regular people in Europe or Ukraine or Russia, whatever, had any real concerns about war in late 2021, actually from mid to late 2021. Here we were discussing events why there was natural gas crisis in Europe and whatnot. And let me show you one example what I'm talking about. Let's go to Wikipedia. Just write this down. Europe 2021 European gas crisis. You know, there is it happened much quicker. Even Wikipedia started to analyze that, and I remember very well that I read it about at end of 2021 and thinking what the hell there was European gas crisis when there was no shortages. But it seemed at that time, and now the reasons were not 100% clear, and there was the thing that probably Gazprom was trying to manipulate prices to get Europeans in place because they know there was something happening. That was the thinking at that time, and I am thinking it right that now. Let's skip this one and go fast forward to summer of 2022, when the Europe energy crisis was in the full heat, because there was serious, if this was pure fear, then in the summer there were serious concerns about energy supplies, because European countries started to say no to Russian gas, and at the end of August, beginning of September, no, precisely at the beginning of September, Nord Stream was blown up. So the largest pipeline to Europe was blown up, and it seems that they wouldn't be replacing it again. So it corresponded to natural gas prices, which skyrocketed tenfold from like historical levels. And then what happened? Well, then everything reverted to historical prices. Why? Well, I could tell you this in one sentence, and this is an important sentence to every kind of financial market. Every kind of shortage is followed by glut. So what happened here is that Europe started to buy natural gas across the world. They were trying to buy ships filled with liquid natural gas, and actually the European ports were overwhelmed by them, and the ships were standing in the long lines, and they had far too much gas for their consumption. Plus winter was extremely mild and autumn was extremely mild, so there was not that high demand of that, and now it corresponded to simply glut of natural gas. So now the all storages are unusually filled for early mid-May, and we are seeing that we probably will get slightly lower prices in the coming months. So what does that mean? Well, firstly, that means that Europe has overcome natural gas and energy war from Russia, and it won that exceptionally well. So this is KO for Russia, because it unleashed its most powerful economic weapon that they had. They had gas, and they had gas infrastructure. They cut it out, Europeans survived, and they had gas for prices which is somewhere at normal levels. So Russia don't have any economic weapon that they could unleash against Europe anymore. So they have no cards left, nothing to say about oil, nothing to say about gas, because prices are normal. They are not delivering to anyone anything, at least in Europe, and they have only very limited amounts to sell to someone, because, well, natural gas is not oil. It has to be sold via pipelines, and only pipelines Russia has is mostly to Europe. To go to sell the same capacity to China, that will take decades, if we are also including the fact that most of the infrastructure objects and construction materials are high-tech, and they are delivered only from West, which is sanctioned now. So here's the thing: Russia lost energy war by KO in more than 1 year after war started. What will happen in real front? Well, let's just see. But this chart indicates that this is not and for European energy market, certainly, and this actually looks very bad for Russian long-term energy policy and its ability to fill their budgets. But of course, all these topics are more for one video, and probably I will try to explain this in more detail in next video. So thanks for watching. I hope you saw this chart and you understand that always shortages are followed by gluts. Every market, every time period. That's the basic thing. If you see spikes, you know that someone will produce any kind of security in so large amounts, in this case commodity, that the prices will revert. This is how it goes. So thanks for this video. Make sure you are tuned to follow me and wait for more. Bye.